guys, before we get started on lesson 9.4, we're going to do a quick refresher on writing fractions from a fraction to a whole number. So I've got a fraction up here, and this is 8/4, right? What whole number is equal to this fraction? Well, to figure that out, I can model it, okay? So 8/4. All right, I know I've got to do fourths. So fourths, I've got 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4. And then 5/4, 6/4, 7/4, 8/4. So if I wanted to show 8/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, look at that. I actually have two whole circles. So 8/4 is the same as 2 wholes. Okay? So remember, I can move from fractions to whole numbers pretty easily. So for lesson 9.4, we're going to work on comparing fractions. And we've been doing this. We've compared fractions with the same denominator, compared fractions with the same numerator. And so we're just building on that today. So Luca and Anne are eating the same size small pizzas. Good, they're the same size. Remember, so now we know we're comparing two wholes that are the same size. One plate has 3/4 of Luca's cheese pizza. Another plate has 5/6 of Anne's sausage pizza. Whose plate has more pizza? So I've circled the numbers that I need to compare. How many pieces make up each whole pizza? Well, let's look. So Luca, his pizza is split into, this is what my denominator tells me, his pizza is split into 4. Anne's is split into 6. Okay, so right away, if I look at the denominators, I know Luca's pizza is split into 4. Anne is split into 6. And so I know Luca's slices are going to be bigger because it's divided less ways than this one is. So this has to be divided up into 6 parts, which means that they're going to be smaller than this, right? And that's the strategy that we used for comparing denominators. So we're going to compare 3/4 and 5/6. So we'll use the missing pieces strategy. You can compare fractions by comparing pieces missing from a whole. So we're going to shade 3/4 of Luca's pizza. 1, 2, 3. And 5/6 of Anne's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So now I can see what pieces are left. I've got 1/4 here and I've got 1/6 here. I can definitely see that Luca's missing piece is bigger. So since 1/6 is smaller, less than 1/4, a smaller piece is missing from Anne's pizza. If a smaller piece is missing from Anne's pizza, she must have more pizza left. Okay? So Anne's plate has more pizza. Okay? Explain how knowing that 1/4 is less than 1/3 helps you compare 3/4 and 2/3. Well, if I know that this is a smaller fraction of the whole, this is a bigger fraction of the whole, then I can tell that this is going to a bigger piece is missing from this whole. Okay, so 3/4 is going to be greater than 2/3, right? So now we're going to work the same denominator strategy, and that's the one that I just reviewed earlier. So Morgan ran 2/3 of a mile. Alexa ran 1/3 of a mile. Who ran further? So I need to compare 2/3 and 1/3. So remember, with the same denominator strategy, when the denominators are the same, you can compare only the number of pieces or the numerators. So that's the one at the top, right? So if the mile is both divided into 3, then I can just look at, well, who ran more of these pieces? 2 is bigger than 1, so 2/3 is greater than 1/3. Okay, so Morgan ran further. Okay, and then we're just going to review the same numerator strategy as well. So Mrs. Davis is making a fruit salad with 3/4 pound of cherry and 3/8 pound of strawberries. Which weighs less, the cherries or the strawberries? So I'm comparing 3/4 of a pound and 3/8 of a pound. And remember, I've got the same numerator in both cases, so I can compare them pretty easily. So remember, when the numerators are the same, look at the denominators to compare the size of the pieces. So I know that something divided into 4, 3 pieces out of 4 is going to be bigger than 3 pieces out of 8, right? Because this is divided up into smaller pieces. So I know that 3/8 is less than 3/4. So the strawberries, whoops, way less. Okay, so it's just reviewing 3 different strategies: missing pieces strategy, same denominator strategy, and the same numerator strategy. And then you guys will practice applying those in the rest of this chapter. But we'll do a couple of the share and shows together. So for this one, we're going to compare 7/8 and 5/6. So I can look at this and say, all right, they don't have the same denominator. They don't have the same numerator. So that really leaves me with a missing pieces strategy to try to figure this one out. So I got to think, what is missing from each whole? So this one's divided into 8 pieces, because that's what this one tells me to do. And I'm only going to, I know I'm only missing one of them. I'm only missing one of the 8ths because 7 is just 1 off from 1. So I've got 1 piece missing here and 1 piece missing here because it's 5/6. Oh, my pen is dying. So even without shading them, I probably could have known and said, well, these pieces are going to be smaller than these pieces because it's divided up into 8 pieces. They're both only missing 1 piece. So, so 7/8 is going to be greater than 5/8. Yeah, so more of this is colored in than this. Okay, we'll do another one together. So we'll write less than, greater than, or equal to, and the strategy that we used. So for this one again, numerators not the same, denominators not the same. So I can use missing pieces. Now I can draw this out if I want. Okay, if that's going to be easier for me. Some of us can probably just look at it right away and we can tell which one is going to be bigger. This one is divided into halves, into 2. And I've got 1. So this is my fraction 1/2. This is going to be 2/3. Okay, and since more of this is shaded than this, I know that 1/2 is less than 2/3. Okay. What's another one that I could use? Okay, I'll try the same denominator one here. Okay, so in this case, so this was missing piece. This one I see, these have the same denominator. So now I only need to look at the numerator and see which one is bigger. This one is bigger, so 3 is bigger than 2, so 3/4 is bigger than 2/4. So this is the same denominator. Oh, denominator. Sorry about my pen. I'll get a new one. Okay, so finish these 2 of the share and show on your own, and then finish all of this on your own. And then you've got a whole page problem to work out on your own, plus 1 multiple choice question. Okay, let me know if you guys have any questions. But please make sure to review the strategies if you get stuck, because it's going to be one of these 3 that you're going to need to use to solve these. Okay, thanks guys.